Welcome to April and Debbie Dish the Truth on Weight Loss, where we share the raw, real, and sometimes messy truth about our weight loss journeys.
I am Debbie, a weight loss coach who lost 100 pounds and have been living in maintenance for 4 years.
And I'm April, a weight loss coach, currently down 75 pounds and continuing my journey to lose 100 more.
Together, we explore the ups, downs, and everything in between, showing you that lasting weight loss is possible no matter where you are on your path.
Yes. And this week, we're going to talk about I start over every Monday and I never make it past Wednesday. So it's essentially, we're going to discuss how we do good for a few days, and somehow we get tripped up after the third or fourth day of the week and tell ourselves, okay, I'll just start on Monday.
So, me. I would like to raise my hand right now. When April and I were talking about this, so it might be a little echoey. It's very blank behind me. Kevin and I have just moved to Arizona, and thank you. Very excited. And for the last, you know what? I'm really going to say probably 2 months. I have just been eating all of the things, definitely emotional eating out of fear and overwhelm when we were getting ready to um, sell. And then Kevin was in the hospital for procedures because of his kidney stones. And then we lost our dog. And then we went on this 8-day journey to drive out here to Arizona where we didn't have a normal routine. So it was like convenience food and Cracker Barrel. I mean, you get to stay in parking lots at Cracker Barrel for free when you're in an RV or camper. We have a little camper, which is amazing. But then also, you're at Cracker Barrel, so you want to eat, right? So you order all the things because it's convenient. So
Mhm.
my eating has been it's been a lot lately, and all of our furniture and everything gets delivered on Tuesday, and I'm so excited because in my head, I can get back to a normal routine. I can, be more aware of my eating, and so Tuesday's the magic day, and well, today it is Sunday at 6:51 in the morning here in Arizona, and there is nothing wrong with this moment being when I start because there's a lot that I can do between now and Tuesday. And there's a lot I can do no matter what I choose to do. I can choose today is the day I'm going to continue and do good habits, habits that support my goals and my life in maintenance. I can do that between now and Tuesday, or I can continue to eat without awareness. And what happens in that time? Like, I could move forward to what I want, or I could keep eating the way I've been eating and feel disappointed and yucky in my body. Not because I'm mad at what I ate, but just because that doesn't feel good in my body.
Mhm.
So, waiting for Monday or the next month, and it's so easy to do that because we're used to doing it. But when you get to the Wednesday and you think, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, how many Wednesdays do you want to be at where you're saying that same phrase? Like, I don't want to do this anymore, so I give up on Wednesday. Eventually, we've got to learn that in the giving up on Wednesday, there will be more of those opportunities to give up if we keep giving up. And if we just say, hey, I did Monday, I did Tuesday, and here it's Wednesday, I can keep doing this, I think will bring us more power. The more Wednesdays we get through, the less Wednesdays. I mean, we're always going to have to get through Wednesday, but the less it will feel yucky to get through. Like, I want to give up on Wednesday. No, I want to keep going because I'm making progress. That was a big rant, but I hope that made sense.
It did make sense. And I think there's two things that we can talk about with this subject as well. Like you're talking about life throwing you curveballs that you are trying to navigate emotionally, right? All the things you listed that came up with Kevin and losing your dog, which I'm so sorry for, moving,
Thank
which is
you.
exciting. And then, but you're also moving, you moved across country also with two dogs still.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
like, a big deal too. And you're trying to navigate all these different things. while being emotional about it and having the fear and overwhelm. So you utilize a coping skill that you're used to, and now you've realized things have kind of settled. You're there and you're like, okay, I don't have to continue this. I have a choice. I don't have to wait till a specific day of the week. And that's really great to know. And I think that that's such a good self-awareness that you stopped yourself and realized like, okay, I can just do something different today. And then there's also like the trend of you mentioned noticing a trend. And I think if you do notice, if you are a person that like Monday, Tuesday, you are like on it, you've done your thing, and then Wednesday hits and you kind of falter, and then Thursday it kind of all kind of unravels, that's a trend that you can catch, and then you can actively do something to roadblock it. So if you're a person who, or if it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you could do good and then the weekend comes. Whatever your cycle is, if you've noticed your cycle, then make an alarm on your calendar or reach out to a friend and say, hey, on Thursday nights, do you mind if we chat? Or whatever might be helpful for you, think about what would actually put a pause in your cycle of your trend. So if it's weekends coming up, make a date with a friend to chat or text about it or journal about it or whatever things work for you. But if paying attention and seeing that trend is so big, and the message of anytime, start anytime. So I was talking with some friends and I was telling a story and they were like, that's great for your podcast. And I'm going to kudos Kathy for that because she made it. She pointed this out to me and she listens often and we appreciate that. But I
Yes, we
have,
do.
yes, the thought of I haven't been doing this for so long, what's the point? Or I haven't done this for so long, how do I get started? So the story I was telling is I used to do a lot of art when I was younger and I really enjoyed it. And long story short, I had gotten away from it for many, many years. My supportive husband, Kevin, signed me up for a subscription box to Sketchbox, where you get like this monthly box of art supplies, right? And I would get the boxes and I would just put them aside. They were like in a closet. I felt bad and shameful that I wasn't utilizing it because this great supportive gift my husband gave me, and I just kind of felt like I was trashing it because I wasn't doing it. I felt fear and overwhelm because what if my art doesn't come out good? Or what if I don't know what I'm doing? Or all of these critiques that are in my brain kept me from utilizing these boxes. So after doing some work on myself and with a coach and all this thought work, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make an effort. And I set aside a time and I blocked off a time to clean the office of where I'm gonna do the art. And I opened up the closet and what did I find? But 24 boxes, 2 years worth of Sketchbox that I have not utilized. And I was just like, WTF, girl. Like, and I had all these thoughts, negative thoughts, like, I cannot believe you wasted all this time and all these things. And then I was like, you know what? Okay, today's the day I've set to do this and I'm going to do this. And so I went through all the boxes, I organized them. I signed up for an online watercolor class, and I got it going. Now, I could have just chosen to stay in that moment of feeling like I wasted 2 years. I didn't appreciate the gift he gave. I can't paint. I can't, I could have just kept going, but I chose in that moment to do it differently. I'm going to do it now. Like that was a choice. So the thing is, it does not matter how much time you think you've wasted, how long you haven't done it, how much weight you've regained, whatever it might be, you have today in this moment to show up differently and make a different choice. And there really is no magical formula because I know we all, and myself have included, like, how did you get going? I just did. You just do it. You put it on your calendar, call a friend, text a friend, you make an action. I think stopping questioning so much and not thinking so much about it and just doing an action towards it is really, to me, I think the biggest thing.
I think you are so right. And Kathy, I love that you had that because
Yeah.
that was such a good question, or good suggestion for a podcast. And, when those thoughts come in on like, I've done so good Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday comes and it's like, I can't do this anymore. To remember that you're right on time. Those thought you are right on time. I knew I was going to think that because I have thought that my entire journey toward weight loss or whatever goal you are. When we get discouraged, it's what we've always done. So expect it. Know it's going to come and plan for it. And you talked about putting aside your artwork and 24 boxes and I think about I've loved the pictures that you've sent me. They have been so fun. So I'm glad that you are doing it.
Yeah.
But I've also like I love to read and I haven't read in years. And on our journey out here, I mean, I finished a book yesterday that had nothing to do with self-help. And so it kind of got me to thinking, if we start reading the book on Monday, or you start your beautiful drawing on Monday, and then we get to Wednesday, and I don't want to read this book anymore, or I don't want to continue creating this artwork. We'll never finish the story. We'll never finish the painting. So we'll never finish our journey toward our goal, whether it's weight loss or a life goal. We're gonna keep going and I'm sorry, Kevin's alarm's going off. We're gonna keep going toward not finishing and life is all about finishing what we start and it's how we want to finish it. Well,
Yeah, I agree. And I think when we get so caught up in our head about what we haven't done, or like we talked about last week, people being ahead of us, when we really get so caught up in those thoughts, we kind of paralyze ourselves from moving forward, which is really just our own doing, right? Because if we didn't have judgments on, like if I kept judging myself for not doing those art boxes for those 2 years, I would have never moved forward and started the watercolor class. But I let that go. I said, okay, that's not serving me. And it's a choice that I can choose to do it now. But so if Monday came and Tuesday and Wednesday hits and you're faltering, the thing that keeps us from moving forward is the thought that we are now failing because Wednesday hit and I didn't do the plan that I thought I was going to do. But if you look at it and say, okay, Monday, Tuesday, I have kind of solid, like I'm really stable with those days. So on Wednesday, or if it's whatever day it's your day that you kind of falter a little, that's the day I might need to just step up, reaching out to an accountability partner, or I might need to write a little bit more of my plan to make me more focused that day. Look at ways to catch where you struggle and want to help yourself instead of judging yourself because there's nobody out there who achieved anything in their life that didn't have struggles. They just looked at, okay, how can I overcome this struggle instead of making it mean they can't do it?
yeah, and I think that that is so perfect what you said. It's like we have friends, we have family, we have people that we love who want to support us and reaching out to an accountability partner or even just realizing why we want to do this for ourselves. I mean, I have a client who said, what if I didn't have to worry about weight loss anymore? And I mean, think about that. Like when it comes to whatever day of the week, for me, it's the weekends. Weekend eating for me, I can honor my goals and my journey all week. And then the weekend comes and my mind is like, all the food out for breakfast, out for dinner, all the things.
Mm.
Whoops. And, I mean, being aware of like, if I continue to think that way, I will not continue to live my life in maintenance and it's not just about the weight in maintenance, it's the life I've created in maintenance because I'm able to do more things that I enjoy without as much restriction because of my size. And so to remember those things and like what you pointed out, Monday and Tuesday, look at everything that you did well. Like and and not just well, like not don't look at the things that may have been perfect. Look at what was easy. And
Mhm.
I say that because we spend so much time thinking that weight loss is hard. And it's hard. I mean, it is. It's not easy because if it were super easy, everybody would be there goal weight, whatever that would be. It does take work, but look for the parts of the work that are easy and doable, and remember those things when your day that you tend to take some steps back. Like, what were those easy things? And I'm going to just do those today, and I'll do those tomorrow. And just one thing, like, even if you're showing up with one thing on Wednesday, it's better to show up with one thing that you can do and do well to move you forward than be like, I'm not doing anything because I'm sick of it. Like, one thing is better than nothing.
Absolutely. Yes. Yep. And I think that goes to a level of perfectionism, which is just not a reality, which I have
Mm,
worked on learning because I did have perfectionism tendencies. And if something wasn't just right, if I didn't make just the right plan, or if I didn't meet my calories just so, or whatever it was that I was doing, or even if I wrote a paper, I had a big issue when I was younger when I would write schoolwork. And if I messed up a word, I would redo the whole page. Like, it was an issue that I had, and it would lose time and it made me feel bad. And again, it's this sense of it has to be ideal, and that's not beneficial to anybody. And I don't think anybody who's achieved their goals, just like somebody often will make reference to like school, right? Most likely you did not get all A's in school. There was a time that you got a less than grade, less than an A, but you kept going. You didn't just say, "Oh, never mind, I'm not going to get my degree now because I didn't get an A." Like, it just, you don't do that. You have to keep going in life. And we make mistakes at work and we keep going. We keep going every day, and we figure out how to make the project better the next day, because we don't attach judgments on these things as we do our weight. And it also kind of goes to society again. I was sitting on the sofa with Kevin the other night, and we were watching TV, and these medication commercials keep coming up. Weight loss medications keep coming up, the commercials. And this is no judgment on if you take it, that does not matter. The point of this conversation when I had with Kevin was, I looked at him, I said, "Do you notice anything about these commercials that keep coming up?" And he said, "Not really." I said, "I do, and it's all women." I have not seen one of these weight loss medication commercials with a guy taking, like, they show her sticking the medication in her belly. I have not seen it with a guy in the commercial. It might be out there, but I've seen quite a handful because they keep coming up on our thing before we watch our show. And I said, "Why is that?" It's because women as a whole are so critical and thinking they have to do everything all the time, and it has to be perfect all the time. And they have to look a certain way to be worthy of what they're doing or what they're wearing, and this is, you know, blanket statements. So, of course, there's exceptions to rule and stuff. But I was talking with a coworker too, like, guys get go gray and they're distinguished. Guys get a little extra, in their belly, and oh, it's, the weekend beer belly, or it's they're getting older. It's always acceptable. We get wrinkles or gray hair, and ooh, that's, you're starting to show your age. It's
yeah.
just such a different. So the impact of feeling like you're not accomplishing weight loss to get to a certain weight, we put so much pressure on ourselves for that. So when that Wednesday comes, or that Friday, or that weekend comes, and you feel like you haven't done the optimal way to handle your day nutritionally or weight wise or whatever, it just compounds our thoughts of, I'll never
Hmm.
get there, and I'm always going to look like this, or whatever we say to ourselves. But if we are able to take a step back and ask ourselves, just like, I don't know if you said it was a friend or a client, but she said, "What if I didn't have to worry about weight loss?" That's such a great question for everybody to ask themselves. Like, let's just say your size was the ideal size in life, because way back in the day, women who had more weight on themselves was a sign of wealth and
Yeah.
fertility and all these things. So that was in existence and a thing at one time. So let's just say we take a moment and think, what if my size was the ideal size? What would my life be then? How would I treat myself then? What would I think about myself then? And that's what we would want to try to do now, because regardless of what happens and what you achieve or don't achieve, you're still the human and the mother and the friend and the wife or whatever you are in your life. Like it's such, I know we talk about this a lot, but it's so important because yes, I want to lose weight. You want to maintain your weight loss. These are goals just like anything else. Like say if you have an anxiety issue or whatever, you're always trying to work on bettering yourself. I hope so. Like I think that's we all should want to be better versions of ourselves that we can be, right? But for today, this is the weight I am today. This is the anxiety I have today, or whatever issues that I have. This is what it is today. So, how can I still show up for myself and value who I am, regardless of if I stayed on plan or not? I think that's such a great question and thing to ask ourselves.
And you said, and I think so much of what you said was so good. I was like taking notes, like, oh my God, that's so good. And it is true. Back in the day, Rubenesque women, I mean, they were sexy, and that's what people wanted. And it's people's judgment and time um that has passed, that has changed what is considered sexy or cute. And I mean, we can look in the mirror. I mean, I don't know if you've ever done this or not, but if you look in the mirror and say, oh my God, I look awful, you will look awful. And then if you're standing there in the same second and say, I look amazing and I'm beautiful, like your face radiates whatever is going on in here. And I think what is so important for people who are doing great Monday and Tuesday and then fall off a little bit on Wednesday, you are a beginner and you are losing weight in a different way. And that may sound strange to somebody who is working on weight loss for 20, 30 years. Like, I'm not a beginner because I've been doing it, but you're a beginner of learning how to make it through the sticky day.
Mhm.
And how you talked about your perfectionism and rewriting your papers if you made a mistake
Mhm.
and the time that you lost. I mean, I think that the question on our sticky days, how much more time do I want to lose on this project? How much
Mhm.
more time do I want to spend losing weight or going after that goal? And if I determine how much time I want to continue to lose and you don't want to continue to lose, that time, think about what you're going to gain when you get past that sticky day and keep going. Look at the things that you'll be able to do when weight loss isn't the focus of your life. And it's never going to go away because you're still going to think about it during maintenance. But it's just,
Mhm.
what can you do? What can you say to get through that sticky day to keep you moving forward so you're not losing time anymore?
That's a great thing, and I'm glad you talked about that too, and I like how you call it a sticky day because it is a little sticky, right? And it makes you
Yeah.
stuck a little, and you have to think about how to get the glue off your hands or whatever, but so a lot of people struggle with midweek or nighttime eating. You talk about weekend eating. I struggle with, my sticky times are at work. I'm at a desk and I'm happy with where I'm working, but I get restless sitting at the desk and I wanna get up and I wanna move. So, I've been thinking about nicer weather is here, so I reached out to my coworkers and I said, "Hey, if I'm hitting a moment, like, and I go outside to just walk around the building for a minute, is that okay?" Like, ask them, like, how that would feel, whatever. Of course, they were super supportive, so that was really great. Where I'm working now is really awesome, but,
Mm.
I had to initiate asking for what I needed, and that's not always the easiest thing, and it certainly wasn't for myself, and you have to know the environment, but I think we always I don't I know we often I at least I often will always think, "Oh, it's gonna be no," or, "Oh, I don't wanna inconvenience them," or, "I shouldn't be asking that," or the laundry list of reasons why I don't ask for what I need. And I thought, it's just a question. If they say no,
Yeah.
or that would kind of be a pain, or you get a lunch break, or whatever reason they could give. But they didn't. They were like, yeah, we totally get it. Go outside, take a walk, no problem. It's like less than 5 minutes around the building, not even that. So, um, look at ways that you can do it for yourself. And if you need help, ask for help and think of a way that you could enlist somebody else to help you out. So, of course, when I go, I'm not just going to get up and leave. I'm going to turn to my coworker and say, "Hey, do you mind if I take the trip around outside right now?" She'll say yes or no, depending on what's going on. Of course, I'll know also to look at the schedule and stuff. The other thing is, especially for people who are office workers, like when you're at the desk, I personally find that, again, I get restless, my mind gets restless. Even if I'm busy, I'm in one place for a very long time. So I'll take a few seconds and I'll just do it. I love art, like we were talking about before. So I'll just do like a little doodle on my page, like draw a bunch of squares or a bunch of hearts because that makes me happy, or my little bunny that I like to draw, or whatever it is. But find something that kind of, we talked about before, like TV shows being like bubblegum for the brain. Find a little thing that you could do that can just take you out of your element, even if it's for a minute or two. It doesn't have to be a long time. It's just a little break for your brain. And I think that's really helpful for people to think about what would help me. Because what helps me, it might not help you. Something like your book, maybe it's reading.
Yeah, everybody's journey is so personal, and so what gets you beyond that time, you know, you may not have figured it out, right? Yet. Like, what is gonna be that break that's gonna be just enough
Mhm.
to switch where we need to be?
Yeah, and you try something, and if it doesn't work, or and just because something worked one day doesn't mean it'll work the next day. So have a
Mm,
couple of ideas and write down those ideas. And it's something I was just talking with my client this morning, that I was so sometimes I scroll and I love Grey's Anatomy. I don't know if you ever watched that show, but it's been on for like 50 plus years.
right.
Been on for like ever. And this little clip of one of the actors on the show came up, and she had talked about how it's still on because it's like comfort food for the viewers. And she said it's familiar, it's comforting, and it's comfort food for them. And she used it and it just clicked with me in my brain, like, comfort food doesn't have to always be edible by your mouth. It can be reading a book, it can be listening to music, it can be um anything that works for you. But comfort food is also for the soul, and it can be through listening or looking, taking a walk outside, like that really helps me feel good. So there's different ways to look at what comfort food can be for you. It doesn't always have to be the edible kind.
And it's so just in that second, Chicken Soup for the Soul, remember that book? And
Yes.
and now you just made it like, I never got why they, and I don't know if it is, but doesn't that seem
Yes.
to make
Yes.
sense? And it is, like, comfort food is just not for our mouths, and
Mhm.
I've never heard that before, but boy, it's so true, because we can, like, Grey's, and Patrick Dempsey will always be Can't Buy Me Love, not Grey's Anatomy for me. I love that movie.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
So
Yep.
this week, April and I would both love if you have a day that is sticky and it's the day that you normally say, I'm not doing this anymore. We'd love to hear how this week something switched for you, whether it was something you heard in this podcast, something you saw in a magazine or on social that you can share that got you through that. You
Mhm.
never know what you are doing to move you forward in your journey, how it can help someone else. And that's why April and I did this podcast, because we hope we can help others, but everyone who listens to this or tunes into us, I mean, you have valuable information too that could help somebody. So we'd love for you to fill
Oh,
in the
yeah,
comments. Give us your tips and tricks too, because it's a journey together.
absolutely.
So on that note, if you have questions for next week, email us at April and Debbie Dish the Truth at gmail.com. And if you don't have any questions, oh, we have a whole bunch of things that we work on all the time that we can be more than happy to discuss.
Absolutely.
And I just want to say thank you, everybody, for the patience, and April too, for the patience with the alarm going off. It's next week I'll be in my office and things will be a little bit more stable, hopefully.
Yeah. I think it
Oh,
was great. I'm so happy you're in your new home and everything is going well, and we were able to continue on with the podcast regardless. It's Zoom is awesome.
it is. And you know what? If you feel like you aren't connecting with people, remember Zoom and FaceTime. Like it gaps the miles like nothing else. So yeah, it's already sunny here in lovely Lake Havasu. So I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna take that sun and keep blooming. And I hope you do the same.
Yes, and as always, remember to wake up willing to do something that feels good to you.
Thank you all. Have a great week.
Bye.